Hey, we're Bayside, and you're watching Artisan News.
So, first off, you guys have a new album, Cults. What's the vibe of this new record, and how does it compare to some of your past releases? And, what kind of message do you guys want the fans to take away from this album?
I mean, it's similar. We're the same four people who write the music, write the lyrics, and we've been doing it for a couple albums at this point. And it's another Bayside album, but we try and grow as musicians and grow as songwriters and lyricists, and we are comfortable with the way we sound, and we want to keep our fans happy. So the easy answer is it sounds similar to everything we've done before.
We've been a band long enough that we feel like we've figured out our sound by now, and we really only try to top ourselves.
And what's the biggest obstacle you guys faced while recording this new album?
Really every record gets harder and harder to figure out exactly that, to figure out how to make records continue to sound like Bayside, but push new boundaries and make them sound fresh, and it does get harder and harder with every record. Like, we'll listen to songs and say, it sounds exactly like another song, or we'll listen to songs and say, it doesn't sound like a Bayside song, That's always the challenge, I think. Just maintain that consistency.
What are you guys most excited for on the upcoming tour?
Me personally, I'm excited that we're actually going to do a lot more international. Hopeless has been really good for us in terms of reaching out and getting our record out in other countries, and it looks like there's a lot of international touring in store for us on this cycle. So that for me is one thing personally.
Chris has an answer.
Headlining.
Oh yeah,
headlining.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the weather. The better weather. It doesn't snow in California, right?
In May.
Oh god.
At this point, we have something like 100 songs that we've released over the years, so it's so hard to do support tours or even co-headline tours at this point. It's so hard to try to squeeze all the songs into that set. So it'll be cool. We'll be playing the longest sets we've ever played on any tour. So it'll be cool to finally get a nice variation of songs.
Are you guys gonna possibly be doing any dates on Warped Tour?
Not that. We don't think we know. I don't know. It's a little early for that.
It's all right.
We'll talk about work when it's not 3 feet of snow outside.
Yeah.
Never?
Sounds fair.
Yeah.
You guys announced the show and released a video for Hate Me Through, this nickname Caraboo. Can you tell me a little bit about, where that developed, why it developed, and what we can expect from it?
Partially it was something that we wanted to do just to, get people talking and see if we could kind of pique some interest. But it was also a little bit of we deal a lot with when we put out new records. You're always challenging fans or people's perception of you, whether they've already decided that they don't like your band, or they've already decided that they like your old stuff better before they've heard the new stuff. There's always those perceptions, We wanted to see what it'd be like if we put out a song and maybe people didn't know who was playing it, you know what I mean?
For the record, I think it was brilliant. I love this. So, you guys doing a hometown show, and it's great to see you guys again. I haven't seen you guys for years. But, why did you guys choose to play for a smaller audience when you definitely could have sold out, larger venues? And what does this sort of hometown pride have, as an influence on your music?
We just played the Paramount in Huntington about 2 months ago, so we wanted to do something smaller and just more exciting as far as having a smaller crowd, and something we used to do 10 years ago. We probably actually played here 10 years ago, this same building.
We didn't actually announce it until today. We didn't actually say until today that we were playing it.
Well, yeah,
a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, the bigger shows are more like when we're headlining a tour or something, and we're playing a real show. That's an entirely different thing. I think this for us is kind of us having fun with something, getting out, trying out some new material, and kind of having it be unannounced. Everything is just looser and kind of
relaxed,
a lot more.
Yeah.
It's a lot more fun. It's just going to be more of we're kind of throwing away a lot of the structure. Yeah, kind of just hanging out with a small group of fans and having a good time.
And you guys developed in this Long Island punk scene that sort of birthed, some of the most popular and influential punk bands of the last 20 years.
Never heard of them.
What were your hopes and goals when you guys first started out, and did you ever think it would be this big?
When we first started out, I think the hopes and goals were to make a record. That was to go on tour and to make a record. I think we have far surpassed anything that we would have considered realistic at
Oh,
this
yeah.
point. You know, like I think we're already into the territory of I can't believe it's happening. You know, and we never expected a fraction of what's happening.
6 albums. That's a lot of albums.
Yeah.
I realized last year that my goal when I was like 15 or 16 was to do Warped Tour. And we did that, I don't know, however many times. So I'm done. Like, I'm good.
Right, yeah.
My goal, I finished my life goal.
Yeah.
So I'm like, good.
We've definitely far surpassed anything we
I can
set
just chill
out
now.
to do. You know, at this point, we're just sort of we're riding the wave. We're just very lucky.
I'm not going to set
I've been in
another goal
Bayside
there.
longer than most of the bands I grew up listening to were ever together.
Yeah.
I think if you took like my top 3 favorite bands, we've been a band longer than all of them collectively were bands.
How do you feel the changing music landscape is going to affect, punk in the future?
I mean, the cool thing about punk is that people who grow up listening to punk and playing punk in punk bands are usually very creative. You know what I mean? And I think punk never has a problem reinventing itself and staying relevant. There's always, from the 70s to the 80s, 90s, the 2000s, and now there's been so many reinventions of it. So I think and now with the young bands now, like bands like the Menzingers and Masked Intruder and Balancing Composure and Title Fight, like it's in good hands right now.
Great. Anything else you'd like to share?
See us on tour in like
Yeah.
2 weeks. We leave for tour.
Check out our new
Buy
record.
our record.